Obi Trice, real name, no gimmicks.
Hey.
Two trailer park girls go round the outside.
Round the outside. Round the outside. Okay.
And we're live. We're just going to start every episode down with a little musical.
Only
cue.
Eminem. Oh, well, yeah. I guess because last time it was The Lion King.
Yeah.
It was not Eminem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eminem's cooler.
If
Or is The Lion King cooler?
That's a debate, but I'm saying Eminem.
A debate, but not for today.
Yeah, a debate, but like, I don't know.
Who's the real king?
Well, Eminem's a rap god, so I mean, Mufasa can be king.
I just can't wait
to be king. Okay, I have something I want to ask you.
Okay.
So hand me this because
okay.
It is, even though I know most of it.
Well, while you're pulling that up, welcome to Why Are You Yelling? I'm Anna.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Has forgotten who she is. That's Jessica.
I'm Jessica. We haven't done that in quite a while, and honestly, I feel like it's been fine.
But people might not know who's who. I mean, if you go on Instagram, you can probably figure it out.
Yeah. They can problem solve. They're smart because they listen to us, so they're not ugly, dumb, or stupid.
That's true.
Because they listen.
That's very true.
So I wanted to know, have you ever heard... So I was talking to someone this weekend, and they used some terminology I've never heard before in my life. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Have you ever heard someone, like when they say they're pregnant, they say the rabbit died?
Hell no.
You've never heard of that? Okay, I didn't either.
I've heard the euphemism, a bun is in the oven, or we're expecting, or there's a parasite in me.
I think that's yours.
That's a me thing.
I think that's it.
I will admit that is a me thing. That's a me expression.
So
the rabbit died.
Yes. Okay. Now.
Okay.
I was like, what are you speaking of? And then, okay, now there's actually a story to this.
Like you spoke English, but I have no idea what you just said.
Exactly. So back in the day, in the 1920s through the 1960s, pregnancy tests involved injecting a woman's urine into the ovaries of a small animal. Human chorionic HCG. I'm not doing it. I can't do words, accept it. I don't feel like even trying to attempt it.
Isn't HCG the chemical that's actually picked up on pregnancy tests?
Yes.
Yeah, so, that tells it if it's pregnant or not.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a hormone that concentrates in the urine of a pregnant woman. Yes.
AP biology, thanks.
Causes the ovaries of some animals to become deformed. So by cutting open an injected animal and looking at her ovaries, scientists could tell if the woman supplying the urine was pregnant. So back in the day, if you wanted to know if you were pregnant, they would take your urine and they would inject it into a small animal, mostly rabbits were used often. So what happened was the animal died either way. They cut it open. But the terminology, it ended up becoming the rabbit died, meant you were pregnant. What the fuck?
Okay.
This is real.
You're like, no, this is the real. This is the origins of this. This actually happened.
Yes.
No, I'm a little confused or not understanding, I guess, because like you said, the rabbit died either way because they had to cut it open. It's not like the injection of the urine, and if it had the HCG in it, that's what killed it.
Yeah,
unless they're saying like if the deformed like internal organs would have killed it anyway.
I think that it was just one of those things that
the rabbit died.
It became like the rabbit really dies either way, but they're being dramatic and they're like, the rabbit died, like my life. Just now because I'm pregnant.
But like, what if you did that as like a pregnancy test, but you weren't? It was a false. Like,
well, I mean, you know. I mean, I don't think the doctor tells you the rabbit died. I think that it was just like,
no, you're not pregnant.
They would say you are, you aren't. And apparently, I mean, it was very faulty. Clearly, because they were so like a lot of animal abuse happened, which was horrible, and so they don't do that anymore. Clearly,
I was gonna say like, isn't like playing with or murdering animals, killing animals, a sign of like sociopathy?
We're talking about the 1920s. To like the 1950s.
So everyone was a sociopath.
Yes. Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And no one like even considered that, animals have like fucking feelings and shit or souls or whatever. So anyway, yeah, that was the thing. And that blew my fucking mind. I've never in my life ever heard that.
I mean, that kind of tracks though with like early medicine and stuff.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
well, because like they used to say, like the treatment for hysteria, which hysteria was an actual like medical diagnosis in women.
I only know this because of the Queen's Gambit.
Was that they it was a medical diagnosis for women when they were like basically crazy, when they were like depressed or like postpartum depression, or if they like for some reason like were acting out of the normal. It was called hysteria, which is also where the term hysterectomy derives from, the same sort of like root word, which is very telling.
Yeah, clearly.
But no, the like cure or the treatment for hysteria in women was for doctors to give them orgasms. Yes.
What?
Uh-huh. Look it up.
I don't want to. I don't want to know what
Yep.
will come up if I Google that.
And they said that would help the women. And I'm like, well,
I mean,
it does release endorphins.
They're probably not wrong.
Yeah.
But it's still an abuse of power.
Yes. It's real creepy.
It's very creepy. That's very disturbing. They should have like, could you, the prescription is, give your wife an orgasm. Hand this to your husband. Give your wife an orgasm is the prescription.
Yes.
Some people could probably still use that today. Like some people. Anywho, that was me. That was you just now. Anywho, the rabbit died. Used to mean you were pregnant.
Okay.
And that blew my mind. I was like, what the fuck?
Ain't no rabbits dying over here.
They're all alive and kicking.
Yep.
All of them.
Bunny kicks.
Yes. So anyway, that was my weird fact of the day.
Fun fact. Fun
Yeah.
story.
So now I hand this back to you.
Okay.
Don't look at the other thing I have on there.
Okay. I'm not. I can't even see it anyway because the microphone's
Good.
I'm going to be adjusting this the whole time, by the way, because I want to try and keep it
Away from my face.
horizontal, but
Yeah.
then also I just can't see my screen.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to talk about today, we're going to play a game later, which you don't know what the game is, but
No.
I think it'll be fun. But before we get into that, I want to talk about a little conspiracy theory that I had heard of, but I just looked into a little bit more this morning, and I'm like, is it a conspiracy? Is it a weird coinky dink? You decide. So basically, there are some like I'm calling them crypto dudes. So
Yeah.
they're cryptocurrency. They're like kind of major players, or were major players in the cryptocurrency kind of world.
Yeah.
And 3 of them mysteriously or unmysteriously, suspiciously died within like a 30-day period.
How did they die?
The first one that died, his name was Nikolai Mushigian. He's 29 years old. He died on October 28th. So a couple days before Halloween. And he was an early developer of Maker DAO, which is the largest decentralized finance protocol, and was a key architect of stablecoin systems. So that would be currencies without government backing. So I don't even know what any of that means. But he was basically a pretty big player in the like crypto finance world.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was living in San Juan, Puerto Rico in a $6 million beach house. And he apparently was also quite paranoid, to where he frequently would tweet and talk about like the CIA. And he would almost like who are the people that think that the world is run by like a pedophile ring?
QAnon?
Yeah. He kind of sounded like that.
I'm like, I don't know if that's all those people, but I think they're like the big group.
But that's kind of like the
yeah.
What's it called?
Like the lizard people.
Yeah. And so he kind of sounded like that a little bit to me. But basically he was kind of paranoid and always thought that like he was trying to almost like out or uncover like these conspiracy type things, right? And so he tweeted on the morning that he died at 4:57 a.m. He tweeted, quote, CIA and Mossad and pedo elite are running some kind of sex trafficking, entrapment, blackmail ring out of Puerto Rico and Caribbean islands. They are going to frame me with a laptop planted by my ex-GF girlfriend, who was a spy. They will torture me to death, quote. So he tweeted that. And then he apparently at some point between then and 9 a.m. left his house to go on a walk. And then a little after 9 a.m., so about four hours later, he was found dead.
How?
On the beach. A surfer it was a beach nearish his house, and a surfer found his body like in the waves, and he was still fully wearing his clothes, still had his wallet in his pocket, like on him, and he had drowned. 4 hours after he tweeted that he was going to.
Does that sound like he was tortured though?
Yeah. And so basically the area he was found in is pretty well known for having really like violent or like whatever riptides. So the waves are just really harsh right there, and the riptides are really strong, and to the point where like local hotels like encourage people to not go in the ocean right there. Like, don't go swimming because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And so he was described as paranoid and in a quote downward spiral after breaking up with his girlfriend, who he had mentioned was in that tweet saying that she was a spy. And some people have suggested that it wasn't foul play, that it was self-inflicted, that he may have tried to off himself. And that they said that I mean,
if they were gonna, okay, I have questions.
Okay, but so the last tweet, someone suggested that the last tweet was a way of him bringing like quote significance to a suicide, like how can I bring some nobility and meaning to my death, end quote.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay, if this was a conspiracy, right? The CIA, you would think, is a lot smarter than to leave that tweet up.
Yeah.
It should be gone
and scrubbed.
He clearly wasn't tortured.
Or is it more suspicious because if he has a lot of followers that would have already seen it, retweeted it, liked it?
He wouldn't have been found that day. You know, let's just give the CIA credit. They're not stupid. I would hope not. I mean, honestly, if you're like, if there is this whole conspiracy of the CIA, I hope they're a lot smarter than to kill a guy a few hours after he tweets you're going to kill him and then you let us find his body. Like, what the fuck?
Unless they let that happen because they knew he would sound like a cuckoo.
Yeah, but everyone's a conspiracy theorist nowadays. So that's just like feeding the fucking like fodder of believe this conspiracy stuff, believe it. So I'm like, if the intention is for you not to believe it, it would be easier if you went missing or you would wait. You wouldn't do it that day. You know, like you should be smarter than that. Yeah, I'm not saying I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I just don't. That's just like, that would be really dumb on their part.
Yeah, I think it was self-inflicted.
Yeah.
They did some interviews.
There's other ones though, right?
Yeah, they did some interviews with some of his like family and friends and stuff. And they were all pretty much like, yeah, we think he did this to himself.
Have they drug tested him? I mean, is an autopsy done?
It didn't say in the article.
I would be curious to know, like, was he on anything to cause a lot of this?
They did say that he smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah, but I don't know about that. Sounds like some deeper stuff.
Yeah.
Some deeper
which I mean the weed could have contributed to the paranoia that people say he experienced.
Yeah, but I'm like, weed paranoia and like people being on like other drug paranoia is like different. Like, I would not know. Know some potheads and they're not like that.
They're paranoid but not paranoid.
They're not paranoid, but they're not like the CIA's outside. I'm not saying that's not possible. I'm just saying, like, I've never personally known somebody who thought the CIA was after them because they smoked weed or, you know, ate an edible or something.
So that happened on October 28th. On November 23rd, a guy named Tian Cullender, they called him TT. That was his nickname. Okay. He was 30 years old. He died on November 23rd. He was the co-founder of Hong Kong-based digital asset company Amber Group, which reached a $3 billion valuation earlier this year. So he co-founded that company that was like poised to make hella money. And he died in his sleep.
I heard about that one, I think.
No mention of how. That's all that I could find. That's it. No, they haven't said how. They haven't said if it was like some sort of illness or, you know, heart attack or drugs or anything. Nothing. They just said died in his sleep.
The fuck? I wonder what would be the like benefit of killing all these crypto dudes.
I mean, if they have competitors.
So so the competitor would but who wonder who absorbs all that now?
I mean, I guess it would. So it kind of depends on their role within like these crypto companies. So like the first guy, his name is Nikolai. He apparently was really was regarded as basically like a genius in the crypto world. And so his death would mean that whatever companies that he was working with or for, or whatever he was working on, those things potentially, if they're like, he's the brain behind it, if he goes away, those things don't reach their development, or someone else can swoop in and buy it, steal it. Yeah. Or, you know, if they're going to make a breakthrough first, someone else is like, we take him out, we'll make our breakthrough first, you know, those sorts of things. So corporate espionage. But yeah, so
that's crazy though.
TT, who was in Hong Kong.
And he was 30.
He was 30. And so both of these guys, very young.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just said died in his sleep.
That is like so vague.
Yeah. That's the part that I'm kind of like, I guess maybe if you're going from like a, respecting him and his family's privacy, and not revealing more information than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
either
get
he
it.
died in his sleep or like something happened and they don't want to say.
Yeah.
I mean, and I get that. That's
Mhm.
it's not everybody's business, but
Mhm.
it gets difficult when there's so many conspiracies around.
Yeah.
And so if you're the family, you're stuck in a place of like saying, listen, that's not what happened. And then
Mhm.
you have to say what happened. Or you're in a place of like,
It's almost a case of like, if you reveal too much information, people start to read too much into it. If you
Yeah.
reveal too little information, the same thing happens. So
Yeah.
it's a weird spot to be in, I guess.
yeah, it is weird. Oh, this has zero, I mean, absolutely nothing with to do with what you just said. But I needed to apologize to you
Oh.
about the map debacle because it just
Oh.
entered my brain
Wait.
because
Oh.
I have to do it.
Okay, we'll do it now. Well,
Because I won't remember.
there's still a third guy.
There's
but-
3 dead people?
Yeah.
Jesus. The point is that Delaware doesn't touch DC. Just so you know.
Okay.
The tri-state is DC, Maryland, Virginia.
I have no reference for where Delaware is.
It's not that far, but actually West Virginia is closer to DC than Delaware is.
Does Delaware touch the ocean?
I'm afraid to say now. I thought I knew more than I did.
What are the two that are kind of like small and side by side up there? Rhode Island is one of them, right?
I don't.
There are two that are kind of like
A lot-
rectangle-y shaped and they're small. They're like side by side.
Connecticut and Rhode Island? I really don't know. I'm afraid I can fill out a map. Okay, I can do that. But
Cannot.
honestly, I just know less than I know where I'm from for sure. That part I'm still right about. Everything else, listen. West Virginia is technically closer to DC than Delaware is. According to here's the thing. That's a comment on TikTok. Technically that could also be wrong and I'm just like saying it's fact because one person on the internet said it. So, anyway, I apologize for I mean, I was still right because I know where I'm from, but technically I was incorrect that Delaware does not touch DC. The end. Anyway, who's the third guy? I wouldn't remember. This is actually how our conversations go, though.
Yes.
This is a more realistic, like,
depiction
of what it's like.
Yes, real life. Correct. So the third guy, his name was Fuck me. Vyacheslav.
Is he Russian?
Taran. How could you tell? He was 53, and then he died 2 days after TT.
What the fuck? They all died like within like days of each
Within
other.
30 days of each other.
But that one guy died October 28th, right? The first
Yes.
guy. And then the
Mhm.
second guy died November
23rd.
Oh, okay.
And this guy is November 25th.
Okay.
So Vyacheslav, he was a Russian cryptocurrency billionaire. He's the co-founder of Forex Club and president of Libertex Group. So he died in a helicopter crash near the French-Italian border. So the helicopter was flying from Switzerland to Monaco, which Monaco is a city-state. Because it's technically part of France, but not. So Monaco is on the coast of France, and it's very tiny, but it's on the Mediterranean and it's very close to Italy, but it's a city state. So it technically is like you can be from Monaco and not be like from France.
Is that kind of like what Hong Kong is like? Because Hong Kong is not technically China. It's like its own thing.
It's like I have no idea.
I don't know.
Couldn't tell you.
This could be cut because I'm not gonna be ignorant anymore.
Well, like Washington D.C. is a city state, I think, kind of.
Yeah, but you're American if you're from DC. But like you wouldn't be French if you're from Monaco. You're just from Monaco.
Yeah, you're Monegasque. Like the
So that is a little different then.
Yeah, like the F1 driver Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
He speaks French. He's from Monaco, and so he drives under like as a citizen of Monaco.
Huh.
That's his like flag that he drives under.
Yeah. Okay.
He's Monegasque.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure Hong Kong has its own flag versus China. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
And I know Thailand is like stay away from
That's above my pay grade.
That's above everyone's here because no one gets paid.
So he was flying from Switzerland to Monaco, and then he was the only passenger on the plane. So it was him and the pilot. The plane crashed around 1 p.m. Both of them died. There actually was a second passenger scheduled to fly on the helicopter, but at the last second he canceled and decided not to get on the helicopter.
He was like, you know what?
Which is suspicious. But then
Could you imagine just having a gut instinct to not get on a helicopter and then all of a sudden like they die and then everyone's like, you're a fucking suspicious motherfucker, and you're like, I'm sorry, my intuition said don't get on it.
But they're saying authorities say there's no evidence of foul play.
Yeah.
But he is one of several Russian billionaires who have died under mysterious circumstances this year. So I think he just happens to be like a tech finance crypto guy.
Putin's just getting rid of some of them.
But yes, there are several Russian billionaires that have just been taken
Putin's
out.
like, oh, I'm sorry. Are you mad at what I'm doing? Okay, I'm going to kill you.
Pretty much. So yeah, that was kind of I looked more into that because I heard some people talking online about.
I'd heard I think I'd seen 1 or 2 videos on TikTok that had kind of briefly talked about that, but I didn't do any research into it. Because I'm just like, at this point, I'm so desensitized to conspiracy theories because I'm like, oh, another one. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I kind of just already sort of believe it.
Yeah. You know what's so bizarre is that sometimes certain conspiracy theories, you're like, that's wild. Like, that's crazy. There's no way. But then the more you get into it, the more you're like, I don't know. Could be. It kind of makes a little bit of sense. And then you're in dangerous territory.
Yeah. You're like, ooh.
Part of me, so the whole, when COVID first happened and started, the quote unquote conspiracy theory was that it was developed in a lab in the Wuhan province of China, or Wuhan province of China, and that it was released from that. It was developed in that lab and then released, whether on purpose or accident, whatever. And then I'm sitting here like, that's crazy. And that was the leading conspiracy theory. And I'm like, no, I kind of more so would believe the story of it came from bats or something, or, in one of the wet markets, and that it kind of spread that way. I would believe that more so, that it was kind of coincidental versus intentional, or that a breakout from a lab or something. But nah, there's a coronavirus research lab in Wuhan, China, where the outbreak started.
And we're just like, wait a bit.
And it's
minute
and so that was one of the things where I'm like, generally my stance on conspiracy theories is I don't believe them.
Yeah.
I'm like, because it's just kind of crazy, outlandish. But then sometimes they turn out to be true and not conspiracies.
And you're like, oh, God damn it.
I got to rethink everything. 9/11, inside job? Who knows? You decide.
I think 9/11 was just more didn't stop it. But I'm not even doing that right now.
The earth is, right now, the earth is round.
The earth is round, and I will literally, never waver on that. It's not happening.
Yes.
That is just a fucking fact.
I think the origins of conspiracy theories, for me, it always goes back to a distrust in the sources providing the information.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that, not even just conspiracy theories, but people who were pro-vax, anti-vax, or, it all comes down to, do you trust the sources of where you're getting your information from? And how do you trust a source of information?
Exactly.
Because it's do you trust the government to give you accurate information? Or are you okay with, sometimes it's super accurate, sometimes it's not, and they're just telling you what they want to tell you? Yeah. With the whole wearing masks thing, does it help? Does it not help? And they're, the government presents a set of evidence, or they have, Fauci saying, no, wear a mask, it helps. Does it actually help? Or is this the government spreading this information to give people some sort of thing they feel tangible that they can actively do to help the situation and not panic as much and feel like they're actually doing something, versus just kind of sitting around dreading, hoping for the best, kind of scared, paranoid. But then it also comes back to is the government bad for doing that?
I don't know. That whole thing is no. That's a no. Do I trust the government? No. I'm not saying that they were. You know what? No. I don't know. My brain literally is just, I have too many I teeter on I care and don't care at all because it's just exhausting. This is why I like to talk about fun stuff.
But I mean, so that's kind of the whole basis for me of conspiracy theories. It's just, do you trust where the information is coming from? And if you don't, who do you trust? And then other people have to decide.
Everyone's like, Joe Rogan. I trust Joe Rogan.
To be fair to Joe Rogan, he talks to people who are considered experts in their fields.
I literally love Joe Rogan. I have zero issue with him. I think that a lot of, like, he talks to a bunch of people on different, you know, like you said, experts in their field or different perspectives or different sides, even politically. You know, he's very open to having conversations with people, and he's never like really talks down to them or anything, even if he doesn't agree. You know, he's very much about like, oh, well, I want to know more about this. I want to know more about you. And I think that's why people like him, is because he's so like, he gives people a platform to explain themselves in more detail rather than Fox or CNN twisting what they said. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like when he talked about what he did when he got COVID. Everyone's like, he took horse tranquilizer, when like no one else talked about what that medicine does. And it's not a horse tranquilizer. It's not just that, or whatever the case was. And then they like, there was actual like video evidence that they literally made him look sick in his video that they showed on the news platforms, and he didn't look like that. It's just like, that's why there's so much more distrust now, because we can literally see.
We can see you lying.
Yeah, we can
or
see. Or
manipulating the facts.
Yeah, and it's just like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would agree with like the openness to conversation thing of like why people like him and listen to him. I mean, there's a reason why he's the literally most watched and listened to podcast in the world, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason he makes all that money.
Yeah.
And it's because, like you said, part of it is that he is open to being wrong.
Yes.
Or doesn't really care if he's wrong. Not care.
He's not embarrassed to be wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, oh, okay, I'm wrong. That's fine.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, if you can show me evidence or explain to me why I'm wrong, or, you know, he's open to his mind being changed without being like flimsy on his beliefs and kind of like stance on things, you know. He's open to change, which I mean is a good thing.
Yeah, it's like, it's a good quality to have. And it's not, I mean, and then, you know, a lot of people are like, they're mad at Spotify because they're like, you didn't do this and he's spreading misinformation. I'm like, he's literally just having people on his podcast talk about their supposed expertise about whatever subject that is. That's it. There's no intentional of spreading misinformation. I would argue that like the news is intentionally spreading misinformation all the fucking time. So it's just interesting that it's like,
but I take issue with the word misinformation because what does it even mean? Does it mean people are lying? If they're lying, say that they're lying. Is it people are saying things that they believe to be true that we later find out aren't true? Because if that's the case, they're not at fault because they weren't acting in a malicious way. They were saying something that they believed to be true.
Misinformation is just like, I don't like what you're saying. That's what it feels like.
I feel like that's what it is. If people are lying and not telling the truth, say that. But if misinformation is just, oh, they believe they were telling the truth at the time, and then later we found out that wasn't the case, or, you know, they changed their mind after the fact because they learned new information, which it's okay to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Then just say that that's what it is. I don't know what the fuck misinformation is.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, a lot of times I feel like it's used in a way to like, oh, you're misleading people with this information that may or may not be true. And I'm just like,
this information is technically correct, but I don't agree with it, so I'm going to call it misinformation.
Pretty much.
Like, does it derive from like misinformed? Like you're misinformed about something and what you're saying is now incorrect based on that? But then who's to decide what a misinformation is? Again, comes back to the source. Do you trust them?
Exactly. It's very annoying.
I know. It's a lot.
Everyone's just very annoying to me. Okay, I don't know if you've heard this or not. So Margot Robbie is going to be in a new movie with Brad Pitt, and it's called Babylon, and it's by director Damien Chazelle, and he's the director of La La Land and Whiplash, and if I butchered his name, I'm sorry. So, in an interview with E! News, Margot Robbie revealed that a kiss between her and her character and Brad Pitt's character was not originally in the script. So, that happens all the time, right? You know, there's always changes to a script. Normally, it's like...
I was going to say, I have heard of this situation that you're talking about, and I feel like, not to get ahead of you, but like you said, changes to script, or, you know, if you're in the moment acting, you know, two actors going off of one another, sometimes things, you know, are ad-libbed or changed a little bit. You kind of just go on the feeling of what the characters are doing and stuff like that.
This situation stuck out to me as odd. So, no hate though, but just odd. So anyway, Margot Robbie revealed that a kiss between her and her character and Brad Pitt's character was not originally in the script, but she pushed for it while filming for a personal reason. and also fit the story and her character perfectly for her. So yeah, lucky for her. But what she did, so she reveals in the interview, her character Nellie and Brad Pitt's character Jack, she says, I thought, when else am I going to get the chance to kiss Brad Pitt? I'm just going to go for it. So she's talking to an interviewer. I don't know why it's an interview person. Explaining how filming this scene came out, she was talking to E! News about it. She says, I said, Damien, I think Nellie would just go up and kiss Jack. And the director, Damien, is like, well, I mean, she could or she would. Wait a minute. Do you just want to kiss Brad Pitt? And she's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I do. So sue me. This opportunity might not ever come up again. And he was like, it does work for the character. And she was like, I think so too. So basically, she wanted to kiss Brad Pitt and convinced the director that this would work for her character. And he agreed. And she got to kiss Brad Pitt. So that's the whole story. And I just thought to myself, first of all, that's weird. And if a guy did that, it'd be fucking weird.
Yeah.
If a guy was like, can I please, I just really want to kiss Margot Robbie. Can you please make it happen? I just want to kiss her. She's married, by the way. So I don't need this anymore. My thought, and I talked to Travis about it a little bit. I was like, I, as someone who loves film, as someone who wants to act, direct, write, whatever, I understand that the story can change. Totally get that. I understand that you might see characters that have chemistry and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that might work. That's like the director's call. I think that it's odd that she just blatantly was like, I wanted to kiss Brad Pitt and I was going to like, so sue me. And I'm like, where's the line of your job and cheating? Because you kissed him you convinced that basically it was to me, and I'm not hating on her. I think she's a wonderful actress. I think she's great. But it's just such a weird like thing to me because I feel like it kind of broke the code in a way of you basically just kissed him for personal reasons and you convinced this to happen for personal reasons. And it really had zero to do with the storytelling aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it just seems kind of gross.
I think, okay, so I have a couple thoughts on this. Because I first thought I felt a little weird about it too.
Because I'm like, she's married. How the fuck would her husband feel about just reading an interview where she convinced the director she should kiss Brad Pitt because she wanted to?
I think a small part of me is kind of like, I mean, yeah, why not? Go for it. Like if that's your job and you're in this position and you have the chance to like kiss somebody that, is a prominent actor and somebody that you've looked up to or somebody that you just found really attractive, like if you're in the position and they're okay with it, like the other actor in that situation is okay with it happening, part of me is a little bit like, well, like why not go for it? But I mean, I didn't know she was married. That is a little bit, that changes it a little bit for me. But then also the aspect of like, yeah, if you flip it and it's a dude doing it to a chick, like that's creepy.
It's weird
and gross.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and again, it was a very small part of me that's like, people are making a big deal out of it. Just go for it. Like do whatever.
Yeah.
That's a very like 2%, right?
Well,
the
at
other
first,
98%.
first you're like, okay, whatever. But then I'm like, wait a minute, she's married. How the fuck does her husband feel? I mean, yeah, she's been a wolf on Wall Street. It's not about her kissing guys. It's not about any of that. I mean, she's been naked on screen before, so it's not about any of that. It's about the personal want. When am I going to get the chance to kiss him again? Like that's like cheating on like because that's just you personally wanted to kiss Brad Pitt and you worked it into the script so you could. When it's like
it's about the motivation behind it. So this comes back to a lot of people will say that, like context doesn't matter when certain things happen and the outcomes are like intent doesn't matter when the outcome is this. And it's like, well, no, intent does matter.
Yeah.
So the outcome of her being like, well, of her getting to kiss Brad Pitt for this movie is fine in and of itself.
For the movie, yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. The outcome is fine. The intent behind it is what makes it okay or not.
Yeah, it's weird.
So the intent coupled with the outcome is like, if the intent was just like, I felt like this really would fit my character and it's driven by the art and the storytelling and that's the intent, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what me and Travis were talking about. I was like, it's all about where that's coming from. Coming from a place of, I wanted to personally kiss somebody and it has zero to do with the story, it just happened to have worked.
Mm-hmm.
It's odd. And if I was her husband, I'd be very like disturbed by that. And I would feel very upset because at that point, like you basically just wanted to cheat on me with a pass.
But then also, like, why would you share that?
Wow, why would you fucking say that out loud? Mind you, this isn't her first movie with Brad Pitt. She was in him. She was in a movie with him. She was in Once Upon a Time. And I don't know. I think she might have been in another one, but I know Once Upon a Time was the one I've seen.
And it's also not like this is her first time doing an interview or she's not media trained.
Yeah.
Maybe she just
They all laughed at it. They all thought it was funny. Like there wasn't a big deal. And
maybe she just thought it would come across as like relatable instead of gross.
I mean, in a way, like at first you're like, yeah, for sure. But I think a lot of people were like, oh yeah, for sure. But I'm like, I guess I think of it more like, how does that affect your personal relationship? Because you're married. Like that's weird. And it's also like if a guy did do that, if the roles were completely reversed and Brad Pitt just was like, hey man, I really want to like kiss her, that would be gross. Because it's like, oh, you're using a position of it would be a whole different conversation. So it's like, why isn't it gross now? Because she's hot. Because she's pretty and she's hot, and Brad Pitt probably had zero issue with it, that's fine. But it's also like the intention was just weird. And it's like, I'm not like no hate towards her. I think she's great. I just thought that comment was so odd, and it disturbed me because I'm like, the motivation was selfish and it had nothing to do with like the actual story. It just happened to fit.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird to me. So, yeah,
I would agree.
That was super weird.
But the fact that people aren't really talking about it as much, because like I said, I had come across that story, but not a lot. And not to the degree of like some of these other, when male actors cross a line or male, directors or whatever. It's
coming up some because when I looked it up earlier, the first article I saw was they're like, why isn't that assault? Granted, it's not assault.
No.
Because clearly every person involved in that was okay. Brad Pitt had, at the time, he seemed to have no issue with it. And they have like a friendship. So like she had presented for him when he couldn't make it at some event. So I'm like, they have some sort of relationship. And he clearly was okay with it. The director was okay with it. And he thought, okay, actually, yeah, this does work. So the director was like, okay, this actually works for me and my story. So it's not assault. I mean, that's what, I mean, the director could have changed his mind and said, I want you two to kiss, and that's not assault. Mm-hmm. So that's not what that is. It's her, where that came from her was inappropriate.
Yeah, I think that people are getting a little crazy when everything is suddenly assault and whatever. It's like, was it inappropriate? With the motivations being personal, yes. Was it assault? No. Assault is when someone says no and you still proceed to do things to them in a way that they don't want.
Because the director could have just been like, if he really thought, no, that makes no sense, he would have said no.
Yeah.
But he was like, maybe he knew her motivation, but then his creative side is like, it might work though, actually. She might have a point. I mean, her motivations are kind of, selfish, but for my story, she actually might have a good point. So they tried it, and then he liked it, and they tried it again. And so it was like...
And I highly doubt, like Brad Pitt, one, he's a man. Two, he is very well established in his career and where he is in Hollywood. I highly doubt Brad Pitt is being forced to do anything he doesn't want to do on the set of a movie.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I don't even think people need to chill with that conversation. Yeah. I don't think that's what it is. But anyway, I just thought that was really weird. And I think that like, this goes back to like, it was something that what's the guy's name from, oh fuck. The movie with all the sex in it, and it was the books. They were books, and they were Twilight fan fiction.
Oh, 50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey, yes. Jamie, what's his last name?
Dornan.
His wife basically said that 50 Shades of Grey was cheating, but with a pass. At one point, I heard her say that, and I was like, no, it's not. But then I kind of get which, because the movie's just like, why? Mm-hmm. I mean, just go watch a porn then, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm kind of like, yeah, I get where she's coming from. That's what this reminded me of. Because I was like, this is weird and inappropriate. And I mean, I would have never said that out loud because I'm like, how are you like the significant other in that situation and feel about that? Because it's already like, you really have to have a big trust when you're physical with other people. And there's really nothing like I'm imagining. I mean, I've never been in that situation yet or whatever, but I've heard like, it's not very sexy. You have 100 people around you. It's not like you're alone making out, but it's still just like knowing that happened because you thought, I really want to kiss them. I would be hurt and like disturbed. I mean, it's one thing if that's just your job, but you went out of your way to make it your job, and that's inappropriate to me. And I would feel like you cheated on me because I don't think that's you.
Mhm.
I think, I think that's you, not your character in that moment.
I mean, I guess it comes back to a little bit of like, obviously if, you know, you have two leads that are cast in a movie and they're supposed to be a romantic pair, right? They have to have some sort of chemistry,
Yeah,
some sort of
course.
you know, something, whether it's a friendship or whether it's all just straight up acting, whether they actually have a genuine like chemistry and like whether it's, you know, physically attracted to each other, even if they have partners outside of that, you know, movie or whatever.
Well, that's expected. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there is a little bit of that involved. And so again, to, like you said, to reiterate, to be the partner of somebody who is an actor or in, you know, that industry playing these parts, you would have to be, I guess, secure, very secure in your relationship and trusting your partner and that they choose to be with you for a reason, you know, that whole thing. So, because I mean, again, it comes back to there has to be some sort of chemistry.
Trust.
Well, even like, I mean, like in the two actors, there has to be some sort of chemistry. And I mean, your attraction to other people doesn't just die because you're in a relationship.
No, of course not. Like that's not even what it's about. Like 100%. I mean, let me put it this way. If I was cast in a movie with Paul Wesley, I'm not going to act like I'm not 100% attracted to him. He is gorgeous. But I also respect Travis and I do love him. I mean, and it's one thing to be cast in something and that's the role and you know that going forward. I mean, it's not a crime to be attracted to people. People are attracted to people all the time. To act like your significant other's not attracted to other people and that you're not attracted to other people, grow the fuck up. Like, stop being a fucking child about it. That's not true. It's the respect and the boundaries and knowing that, like, just because you're attracted to somebody doesn't mean you got to do something about it.
Yes.
But when you're an actor, yeah, you might be attracted to your co-star. That's okay. And if that's the point, if you're playing a movie where you're supposed to be, that's a good thing for the production, but that doesn't mean that you have to fall in love and you have to have a relationship or anything outside of that. You just are there for a job. But it's weird to me, like if I'm the partner of somebody and you get cast as like a lead and this other guy's the lead or whatever, and you are going to have a romantic relationship, I expect that. I'm going to know that's going to happen.
But for you to then lobby
that's
to
what
have
I'm
your
saying.
character kiss them when it wasn't originally in the script and it's because you personally want to kiss them.
That's weird.
That is very weird. And that's taking advantage of your role in this movie. It's taking advantage of your position as an actor and your craft as an actor to get something personal out of it that's inappropriate.
Yeah. I mean, so to me, like that's just where that line is like, it's crossed and it's weird. And like, why would you say that?
Why? Yeah, it's like, one thing to like feel it. Like, you don't have to share everything. And to me,
just lie and say, you know, I really felt like, you know, for the character, I went up to him and I was like, I really feel like she would do this. Like, I feel like for the character, it makes sense. Just keep it at that.
Yes, just stop there.
Don't say anything else.
I think that
if you want to kiss Brad Pitt, just don't say you want to kiss Brad Pitt.
Just let that be inside.
Just say it's for artsy purposes and it's for the movie, not because you actually want to kiss him. Like, shh.
I think
some things should die with you.
Some actors and actresses get a little too caught up in this whole like trying to be relatable thing. Yeah. Which I mean was really popularized by Jennifer Lawrence, I think. Yeah. You know, in maybe like 10 years ago or so.
I'm like, wait a minute, was it that long ago?
You know, she was very much like the people described her as the girl next door, breath of fresh air, because she did say, you know, quote unquote wild stuff, or, you know, she just said what she was thinking. She had a little bit less of a filter. Yeah. And that made her seem very relatable because it's like, oh, well, you know, movie stars are just like us. They think the same things. They're kind of goofy. They say dumb stuff sometimes. Made her very charming. Right. Yeah. And so I think that some actors and actresses maybe are picking up too much on that or trying too hard with that.
I'm like, girl, can people relate with wanting to kiss Brad Pitt? The only time I felt that way was in Once Upon a Time. So you know what? I get it. But I'm also like,
read the room. It's still a little bit gross.
Just don't.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to be that relatable.
No.
All you had to do was say, you know, I thought it really fit the character, and you know that was a change that we decided to make. And I mean, the only, you know, the upside of this movie, I got to kiss Brad Pitt, like something to that effect.
If you were even gonna say that, like, just
don't say it together. Say it in a different part of the interview.
Honestly, don't even why even say it at all? just say it fit, yeah, and then they could say, oh, the kiss looked great. You go, yeah. I mean, it fit really well with our characters, and it's a great scene. Why do you need to say anything else than that? Like, it doesn't.
Or,
need to, like, why?
Obviously, if you want to come across as relatable about talking about, Brad Pitt and he's hot and he's an A-lister and, it's a well established, or, it's an honor to work with him, or you can say all those things, and I think that, it doesn't hurt to look at him either, So the game I wanted to play.
Yeah. What is
so
this?
I saw this video. It was, and I've seen it before, but I saw it again recently. And
I hope it's not. I hope it's
up.
not what I think it is, because I'm not gonna be good at it.
Oh, I don't know. So there was this. It's not one that I've sent you before.
Okay, good.
There was this like some sort of talk show. I think it was in Australia, maybe, because they sounded like they had Australian accents, but I could very much be wrong because I'm bad at accents. Discerning them anyway. But I think it was on an Australian talk show. And so they had this guy on, and he, I think, was not like a regular contributor to their talk show. So they were talking about animals for some reason. And they said, okay, so we hear you have this like unique system of classifying animals. And he was like, yeah, so basically I think that there's too many different types of animals. So I think that we need to redo how we classify the types of animals. So he said, there are 4 classifications for animals. There's dog, cat, water, and bug. And you classify the animals based on the energy that they give off.
He's missing one for sure.
So he said if it gives off a dog energy, it's classified as a dog. If it gives off cat energy, it's classified as a cat. If it is in water, it's water. And everything else is a bug.
No. Bird should have its own.
No. Birds get classified depending on the type of bird it is. So, ostrich. What is an ostrich? Ostrich to me...
It's not water.
Is, I think, dog. Ostrich gives dog.
Aren't they mean?
Can be.
I feel like that's a cat. I just don't like that. I feel like
they're very like animated when they walk. So it's giving like a dog.
Okay.
But I mean, it's whatever the feeling is, right?
I guess like I just feel like there's just been a whole classification that could have been like bird.
Well, that is an ostrich is a bird. So like, but different birds go under different categories, right? So what about like a hummingbird? What energy? A hummingbird to me gives off bug.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or what about a pigeon? What does pigeon give off?
I mean, really, I just am like none of them.
Pigeon to me gives off dog because dumb.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like pigeons are just sort of like vacant, so I'm like dog.
They're vacant.
They can be classified in these different 4 categories based on different like
a seagull
aspects of that animal.
A seagull would be a bug to me because you just gotta swat them away and they're annoying.
Yes, I agree. So like shark would be water.
Well, yeah. So basically anything on water is water.
Snake. What is a snake?
A cat.
Snake is a cat.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about a dog? Is a dog a dog?
Yeah.
Okay. What about a house cat? House cat is a cat.
Yeah.
What about a lion? Lion feels a little dog to me.
No, it's too smart to be a dog. It's a cat.
See? You gave me crap about dogs being dumb.
Well, I'm like, they're not dumb, but I'm like, if we're going off of like, I guess the energy. I mean, I love my dog. He's super smart, but I mean, he can be big dumb, so.
Okay.
Yeah, they're still a cat.
Okay. So I would like to go a step further with this game. Not just classify animals, but everyday items. So...
I'm like, what the fuck?
This is a fun game. Play along.
I am waiting.
You're just like, this is dumb.
I don't know yet.
So, laptop. What energy does a laptop give off? How would you classify a laptop?
A laptop?
Dog, cat, water, bug.
It's a cat.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a cat.
Milk.
What the fuck?
Like a gallon of milk in the fridge. What is it?
I don't.
Pick one. What does your
Dog.
gut say?
I guess it's dog.
I would agree.
Me?
I
I don't know.
I don't know. Just pick one. Go with your gut.
The problem is sometimes my gut's like, I don't fucking. Anyway.
Your gut needs to be
What's
better.
What's your toothbrush?
Toothbrush? Bug.
Okay. Your cup.
Cat.
Cat. Your curling iron.
Cat. No. Dog. Dog.
Okay. Your car.
Bug.
Okay. I'm like, I guess you could shove some at me. I don't know.
Okay. Vegeta.
Vegeta's he's a cat.
Okay. Goku.
He's a dog. He's a fucking dog.
Eminem.
I think Eminem is dangerous. So he'd either be a cat or he'd be like water, because water, you don't fuck with things in the water.
Okay. I was leaning toward dog, not because he's dumb, but for some reason I'm like Eminem dog.
Because he's gonna snap at you. But I'm also like, he's a motherfucker you really don't want to cross, and you really don't want to cross some things in the ocean either. So I'm stuck between water and like cat, because he's so fucking just like clever. Dogs aren't clever.
Catfish.
Water.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just straight up water.
That. President Joe Biden.
Bug. It's bug. Donald Trump.
Also bug?
Depends on the day. Yeah, I guess.
I get bug from him.
Elon Musk.
Definite water.
Definite. Kanye West.
I don't know. Part of me wants to say cat, but like deranged. He's a cat with like...
He's a feral cat.
Yeah. He can be a feral cat.
Kim Kardashian. She's a cat. To me, that's a straight up cat.
I would agree with that. For when you said Kim Kardashian and cat, I think of her look from the Met Gala when it was the Catholicism theme, when everyone was dressing up in like churchy stuff. She was wearing a gold dress and it had like a cross on the bottom of it. She had it was like a, and then she had a ponytail, a real sleek pulled back ponytail, and I'm like cat.
Taylor Swift.
Dog.
Really?
Yeah. She gives off like dog. Woof woof.
She's a cat lady.
I know she is, but she gives off dog.
I feel like Taylor's a cat. I feel like she might have some dog energy, but I think she's a cat.
She's like Salem, my cat.
I mean, because she's just very, very smart. And I'm not saying dog. I mean, clearly dogs are not dumb, but I'm just saying like energy wise, like I think Taylor is. I think inside she's a cat.
Okay.
She might give off dog, but I suspect inside she's a cat.
Okay.
But a nicer cat.
Okay. I'm trying to think what else.
An oven.
An oven?
Yeah.
Cat.
What does a lobster give off?
Lobster is bug.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's in water.
I knew you were going to say bug.
Lobster is bug. What are you?
What am I?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's like self-perception.
What do you perceive yourself to be?
I'd probably say a cat. I think.
You know what's funny is you have a dog and I have cats. Only 2. I'm not a crazy cat lady yet.
One away.
But I feel like you give off cat energy. I give off dog energy.
Yeah.
Right?
I would agree. Yeah. I feel like, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not dumb.
I just don't do maps good.
I just don't do maps good.
Apparently I don't either, because I was wrong. Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting.
That was the game I wanted to play.
So now everything from now. What's a cell phone?
Bug. Or water.
Bug.
Water. I think water. Cell phone is water.
Well, I guess we're going to end it. That's it. So if you need to classify things, bug, cat, dog, water. That's it.
If you had to classify this podcast, what are we? Are we? No, I'm not asking you. Shush. That was not a question for you. I was clearly looking at the camera.
Sorry.
If you, our audience, were to classify our podcast, what category do we fall into? Are we dog, cat, water, or bug? Please let us know in the comments.
That's going to hurt our feelings.
That's okay.
Used to it.
Nothing anyone has commented online has hurt my feelings thus far. I feel like I'll be all right.
No, that's just like funny. It's funny and hateful.
Oh, I think the more creative the compliments or non-compliments.
Yeah, the better.
The better.
So, okay, well, yeah, we'll end it. So we will see you guys next week. Don't forget to click that notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and follow us on all the different social media platforms at WAYYPOD. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're even with the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, like pretty much anything that you can listen to a podcast on, we're on. So, yeah, be sure to check us out and follow us.
I'm Anna.
And we already did that. We don't have to do it again.
She's Jessica. Bye.
Bye. Ugh.